So as promised, I told you I was going to bring up something about the amendments. This is copied. There's a guy's site here where he goes through all 27 amendments. That's what we're going to explore today. Now, really and truly, 1 through 12, we're not going to talk about at all again through the rest of the year, except maybe as they come into play in different things. But as the other ones are ratified, 13, 14, 15, etc., and as you can tell, I've got them grouped together, and I'll explain to that how that works later on. We will go through each individual one. But this will be a helpful tool to go back to, and I've got it in numerous places, so you remember this, and we'll actually go over this the day before the state test. So, if you forget this, I feel sorry for you. Now, going forth here, as I said, the first 10 are the Bill of Rights, and so we're going to look through. Now, this man gave some fun facts. He gave ways to remember it. It may or may not help you remember that way, but if it does, go ahead. All right? So here we go. Amendment 1, it protects your freedom of speech, press, religion, assembly, etc. Now, he said the way to remember this time to give him the old number 1. Now, this was a college guy, so you can imagine behind the stop sign there's something else going on there. So you can just make the number 1 instead of the I am ignorant signal, and just kind of sit there and go, number 1, I'm number 1. I can do all these things because of this great country, okay? Now, Amendment 2 is the right to bear arms. Now, this does not mean that you can have the appendages of the furry, fuzzy creatures. This means we as citizens have the right to own guns. Now, this is actually very controversial right now because of, just everything that's going on. We had a shooting in Chattanooga just a couple days ago, and it come up, etc. But it's in the Constitution. We have the right to own a gun and protect ourselves as a citizen. Now, it also allows for a militia, which we don't have militias anymore. We do have something called the National Guard, right? So there you are with that. Now, how does he remember this? He says in scary movies, they always screw this up. You shoot the bad guys, you shoot them twice, because it always seems, you shoot them once and they come back. So just remember that come Halloween time, all right? Now, on to Amendment 3. Amendment 3 is no putting soldiers in homes without the president's or the resident's permission. It's called quartering of troops. The National Guard, the Army cannot show up to your house and say, "Oh gosh, we're tired. Can we sleep here?" No, they're not allowed to do that. Now, the way to remember that, it was actually King George III who put soldiers in our home. See there, his sleepover for George. So if you remember King George III, he's the one that put the soldiers in the homes. Some of these don't make sense, like I said, some of them do. Now, Amendment 4, this is that search and seizure without a warrant. Police cannot search someone's property without a search warrant. Now, this goes with the homophone of the word for, the preposition, and the number 4 here. They can't search you for, number, anything without a search warrant. So, there is that one. All right? Now, Amendment 5, no double jeopardy. You don't have to testify against yourself. Due process protects life, liberty, and property. And Dave Chappelle famously made something called I Plead the Fifth. That protects you from self-incrimination, and we'll get into that as it comes about. And so, did you eat all the chocolate cake? I plead the fifth, or whatever it could be. And double jeopardy, due process, we've already discussed that. So, moving on. Amendment 6 is the right to a speedy public jury trial and the right to have a lawyer. This is all part of due process. The trial can't take forever, and it has to be speedy, it has to be public, jury, etc. And so the way I remember that, have Speedy Gonzales, quick six, right? Quick six. So moving on to Amendment 7. Amendment 7 is the right to actually have a jury trial for monetary damages. It has to be over $20. If it's not over $20, you can't sue anybody. Lucky Lotto 7s. Basically, if you're rolling craps or you're rolling something, somebody's rolling 7s, they're rolling hot. So you don't sue the guy who has less than $20. You sue the guy who just rolled 7s. He's got money, right? So 7 is the jury trial. It's a monetary value of $20. All right. Amendment 8. No excessive bails and unreasonable fines. No cruel and unusual punishment. This one comes up quite frequently with the death penalty. If you turn an 8 sideways, it kind of looks like a pair of handcuffs. Handcuffs can be cruel and unusual, which is why if you see cops out on just regular duty, they actually have zip ties instead of handcuffs. So 8 is cruel and unusual punishment. Now, Amendment 9 is just because it isn't mentioned in the Constitution doesn't mean it doesn't exist, aka silence of the Constitution. Take a 9, turn it upside down to make a shushy finger, it's called silence of the Constitution, dude. And so this is the idea of implied powers. Just because it's not there doesn't mean it doesn't have to happen. Great example was the ruling on gay marriage. Supreme Court said not in the Constitution, but it has to happen, so they did it. And people for that, people against that, but Ninth Amendment basically protects on that. All right. Now the last one of the Bill of Rights is Amendment 10. Powers not given to the feds go to the states. Examples: driver's and wedding license. Now he went with a football thing, right? We're in the SEC country. He said this doesn't make sense. He's in Ohio, but our state is Ohio. The 1 and the 0, the I and the O look like a 1 and a 0, look like a 10, and they are in the Big Ten Conference for football. Now the best way for me to give about this, if you've ever been down to Oxford, and yes, I am from the flagship university, not that horrible communist one, but the driver's speed limit is 18 on campus. Now, how can you set that when it's everywhere else? Well, it's 18 because of Archie Manning. That'd be Peyton and Eli's father. But they're allowed to do that. And also, you have wedding and driver's license. So those are the first 10 amendments of the Bill of Rights, and we'll go through the other ones here in a moment. I'm going to have those together for you.